an end. Again, on the issue of the gender indicators and the collaboration by all the sectors, this is something that we have to really go out of our way, because gender is in every sector. Gender is in agriculture, gender is in all departments, in all ministries. So as the lead ministry, we shall be reaching out to all the sectors to ensure that the gender issue is addressed at every level, so that it is not left to just a unit, it's not left to just a ministry, it is supposed to be cross-cutting, so that we can be able to reach as many people as possible and be able to finish this thing that is actually becoming a snare in our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Madam CS, I want to really appreciate you coming to the Senate, and you have handled the questions from the senators. So if there are any commitments of made, you'll be able to communicate through the relevant committee or the clerk of the Senate to answer those issues that you are not able to expressly be able to answer. So I want to thank you very much. I want to release you now to go and serve Kenyans. That is the end of the session. Members are happy with your response, and we have finished that session. Unless if you want to sit around, I can see you are really enjoying the Senate. If you want to sit around, you can sit and wait.
No, maybe just to say thank you very much for listening to me. Yes, it is true, it was my first time, but thank you very much for the contributions. We will definitely work on the recommendations which have been made.
And of course, you know you are senator by default.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So thank you very much indeed. So clerk, go to the next order. Next order, clerk.
Order number 8, the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025, second reading. Resumption of debate interrupted on Tuesday, 20th May 2025.
When the business was interrupted yesterday, Senator Godfrey Osotsi had a balance of 10 minutes. And if he's not around, then he will forfeit that privilege to spend his 10 minutes. So we go to the next. Online is Senator Chalagay Samson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. This one of the the reason Senate exists, Mr. Speaker, is on this division of Revenue Bill 2025 that is a precursor of financial year 2025-2026. Mr. Speaker, this is very critical that at this time we are discussing the division of revenue as per Article 210, Mr. Speaker, where at least 15% should go of the latest audited accounts. Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleagues that National Assembly should move with speed, because it doesn't make sense, Mr. Speaker, that now, Mr. Speaker, we're having a budget that is 4 trillion Kenyan shillings, Mr. Speaker, yet the proposal is to give counties 405 billion, Mr. Speaker. I want to ask the National Assembly to fast-track and ensure that the latest audited account is within even less than one financial year, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, so that counties, and we are proposed, and the nation should follow this, Mr. Speaker, that we are proposing that counties must get at least 465 billion. I expect that as we go to mediation, the position of the Senate should and must stand to get sure that the counties get 465 billion, up from 370 billion that was in financial year 24-25, Mr. Speaker. So that counties, Mr. Speaker, there are many things that counties should do. There are many money that counties should get, Mr. Speaker, so that we can see service delivery, Mr. Speaker. I heard yesterday during the ISPAC meeting in Mombasa, the argument of National Assembly Chairperson of Finance and Planning say the reason counties should not get more money is because there is corruption. But there is corruption everywhere, even in national government and county governments. That is one of the lame excuses that I've ever heard, Mr. Speaker. That the chair of Finance and National Planning yesterday in East Park meeting in Mombasa could say county should not get more money because of corruption. And you had the majority leader yesterday said corruption is everywhere. You cannot, Mr. Speaker, they say before you kill a dog, you give it a bad name. And that is what National Assembly are trying to do our country. In fact, my proposal, and I want to agree with Prime Minister Raila Odinga, that all funds should go to only two offices, the National Executive and the Governor. And I want to ask members of National Assembly, if you want to manage funds, run for only two seats, the Governor or the President. The Constitution is very clear, Article 94 and 96, that the work of Parliament is legislation, oversight, budget-making process, representation. And there is wisdom why the 2010 Constitution ensure that Parliament should do that job, because you cannot oversight yourself. As they say in Kiswahili, and quote, unquote, Mr. Speaker, muganga ajigangi. And that is the essence, that the National Assembly should oversight National Executive, the Senate and the County Assembly should oversight the governors, Mr. Speaker. So I don't see any reason, Mr. Speaker, that National Assembly is arguing that since there is corruption in counties, but we have ethics and anti-corruption. You have seen the governor of Trans Nzoia has been arrested and arraigned before court of law. You saw the other day that the former governor of Busia was taken to anti-corruption case of 8 million Kenyan shillings, Mr. Speaker. We have a number of governors that are facing corruption allegation cases in court that are being prosecuted by DPP and EACC. We cannot allow, Mr. Speaker, that somebody wants to kill devolution so that they can have the money at the center. In fact, my prayer, Mr. Speaker, is going into the future, Mr. Speaker, that we must agree that let us devolve so much money and resources to counties until no one cares who is the president of Kenya. That is my dream. Say that when you are in Meru, your people are satisfied and you have your resources at Meru County, you divide. When you are in Garissa, Mr. Speaker, and I was disappointed, Mr. Speaker, over the weekend, that the county government of Garissa, led by a governor, decided to do a cultural festivals, yet the city does not have water or even clean toilet, Mr. Speaker. So it's very unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, that even, Mr. Speaker, even like they have not even completed a called Baraki Malamin 56 kilometer of water that connects the town that was worth, Mr. Speaker, 219 million. But they are doing cultural festival in Garissa, Mr. Speaker. In fact, Garissa County have 17 projects that have stalled that amount to 504 million that are yet to be complete, but they have money, which were millions of shillings that they can do cultural events in Garissa County, Mr. Speaker. They should be called out. Those are the people who are giving a bad name devolution, Mr. Speaker. Those are, in fact, they purchase food worth 34 million to flood victims in Garissa, Mr. Speaker. But that money should be used in a fair and transparent manner so that we see value, Mr. Speaker. Even when we were fixing Meru, Mr. Speaker, by removing the former governor, was to bring order and sanity. So I want to call out governors who give it a bad name, devolution. That is why devolution wants to be killed by individuals, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, we must agree that as a nation, we must agree that money should go to counties to ensure there is value for money, Mr. Speaker. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I have seen that counties from March, April, Mr. Speaker, equitable shareable revenue has got to be dispersed. 74.98 billion is yet to be dispersed. Mr. Speaker, under Article 219, and the CS of National Treasury should be aware of this, that Article 219 says when the money has been dispersed, it should be dispersed without undue delay under Article 219 until and unless stopped under Article 225, Mr. Speaker. That is when the Constitution envisages that money should not be sent to a county when it has been stopped under 225 of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. The violation of Article 219, and I remember we didn't sanction the former minister, Ukuri Yatani, over delay of disbursement to counties, Mr. Speaker. Let the National Treasury, I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, and I want to congratulate them, that they have released the school capitation of over around 22 billion capitation fees for second term to schools. But they must release 74.98 billion to counties that from February, March, and April, Mr. Speaker, so that the functions within counties can be pursued seamlessly, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, apart from corruption and prudent expenditure by counties, Mr. Speaker, we must agree as a nation. And I would have expected an opposition as the Senate, and I hope as we go to mediation and members of Finance and Budget are here, we must agree, Mr. Speaker, that our position as the Senate, we must push for 465 billion Kenyan shillings, Mr. Speaker. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, is on concurrent functions. Mr. Speaker, we need to have clarity on community health programs, CHVs, Mr. Speaker. Because when you move under our county, CHVs have not been paid, Mr. Speaker. There is another, Mr. Speaker, the issue of UHC, universal health coverage. Mr. Speaker, I hope you have seen whenever you are driving into Parliament, the UHC staff are always demonstrating, Mr. Speaker. You have even directed from your seat that we receive their petition, Mr. Speaker. These are the people when soldiers were hiding in barracks, when big men and women wielding power are hiding because of COVID. It is only these heroines and heroes of Kenya that confronted the fight against COVID-19, Mr. Speaker. It is sad today that the country does not see value of UHC staff, Mr. Speaker. And even Council of Governors, the other day they say they don't have a budget, Mr. Speaker. They were arguing that they gave us a pet to take it home, but it turned into a skunk, Mr. Speaker. Or they gave us a skunk to take it home and turn it into a pet, Mr. Speaker. We must agree, and I want to challenge National Assembly, that under the conditional grant, at least we should give 2 billion as a ring fence for transit of UHC. But they must first be given, Mr. Speaker, the gratuity so that they can get value for the money, Mr. Speaker. The UHC that are demonstrating daily, we must listen to them, Mr. Speaker. And you remember the Minister of Health was here, although he said he doesn't take my counsel, but my counsel is rarely given, and it is valuable, Mr. Speaker. You remember the Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale said he cannot take advice from Cherargei, and it is on record. But I'm saying my counsel is rare but very valuable, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
There is a point of information from Senator Andy Oketch.
To the House or me?
Be informed.
Okay, yes.
Andy?
Mr. Speaker, my brother Senator Cherargei has just spoken about the universal health care workers, and he has said that there should be at least 2 billion allocated for them. I wanted to inform Senator Cherargei that because we share this gravity of the issue, the 2 billion cannot be enough for them, because the money that we need to be able to make sure that UHCs are actually compensated properly is 3.5 billion. So I wanted to inform you that that is a very important number that we cannot go below. And most importantly, we also cannot compromise the issue of permanent and pensionable for them. So even as we combine those two, the 2 billion is too small for them. It should be 3.5 billion and above.
Senator Cherargei, you are well informed.
He has advantage of sitting in Finance and Budget, member. I think 3.5 billion.
You should ensure that money is.
Yeah, you should ensure, even as we go for mediation, our bare minimum is to ensure that 3.5 billion is ring-fenced for payment of gratuity and hiring on permanent and pensionable of UHC staff. And I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, even during permanent and pensionable, we did push under junior secondary schools, JSS, for 6,000, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm coming up with a proposal to amend the PSC Act that all public service commission interns who intern with government, after 6 months, they must be transited to permanent and pensionable so that we retrain the quality of training of those staff, Mr. Speaker, and we don't pay stipend, Mr. Speaker. As we talk, even as the UHC staff demonstrate, Mr. Speaker, it is sad because in our hospitals, there are no services. Yet we have staff that had already been trained. Mr. Speaker, I want to advise Council of Governors and Ministry of Health. Let us not lose UHC staff because they have already trained, they have worked, they have experience. So the least we could do as a country, we need to appreciate the heroes and heroines of COVID-19 pandemic staff. Mr. Speaker, you remember soldiers could not come out of barracks because no one knew how to handle COVID in this country, Mr. Speaker. so that the UHC staff and CHVs, we must look at it, Mr. Speaker. The public debt, I have seen the reasoning of allocating is the public debt, which is approaching 11 trillion, Mr. Speaker. I want to call upon, and I want to challenge the finance and budget of National Assembly and the Senate and His Excellency the President, that why don't we do an audit of the public debt, Mr. Speaker, so that we know in these 11 trillion shillings, who do we owe and who owe us, Mr. Speaker? It cannot be that the country pays a public debt that an audit has never been done, Mr. Speaker, of around 11 trillion Kenya shillings. I want to say that one of the things that Parliament can do is to demand an audit of the entire public debt that the country is paying. Because, Mr. Speaker, we have to tax Kenyans. We have to borrow so that we can pay tax. Because in the past, Mr. Speaker, in the past regime, there was reckless and abandonment of borrowing, Mr. Speaker, that we cannot account for. Through the SGR, through the infrastructure roles, Mr. Speaker, we must demand for an audit of public debt in this country of 11 trillion Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker. And even, Mr. Speaker, it is very disappointing that most of the businessmen in Meru, in Nandi, in Kilifi, in Narok, in Migori, in Garissa, in Isiolo, are suffering because of lack of the payment of pending bills, Mr. Speaker. It cannot be that the controller of budget is releasing money, yet we have pending bills of 185.446 billion Kenyan shillings, Mr. Speaker. You are killing our small business. I remember Senator Kisheru was coming up with a bill of startups. How will you support the small businesses in our villages and in our counties if you do not pay pending bill? And you remember the Ladamas motion, Mr. Speaker. We had resolved as a House that the pending bills must be paid. Mr. Speaker, in the last session, the National Treasury issued a circular that counties must give an undertaking of payment of pending bills. But it is sad that the pending bill as of today is 185.46 billion Kenya shillings, with Nairobi leading with over 100 billion Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker. We must be told where is the money going. When you go to the controller budget, the requisitions are being made. When you come, the pending bills. Mr. Speaker, because we have a problem called voiding of payments, Mr. Speaker, where you take the money to pay X, but they end up paying Y, Mr. Speaker, and we must be told on this public debt, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of equalization fund, under Article 204, that 10 billion, I want to request that the finance and budget must tell the nation what happened to equalization fund. We have been passing time. Nandi is supposed to benefit in Kapchorwa ward, Soba Songo, Mr. Speaker, and Chemelil Chemase ward, although Terik and Chepteroi ward should be beneficiary in Nandi County. But we are here to get it, Mr. Speaker. I want to challenge that we must also demand a special audit by OAG to look into the equalization fund. And I know Meru is a beneficiary, Kilifi, Mr. Speaker, and many other counties should benefit from equalization fund, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and therefore, even finally on the 50th point is on source revenue, Mr. Speaker, we must agree. The revenue potential, for example, of Nairobi is 63 billion. But when they collect 11 billion, 13 billion, they become excited. The revenue potential of Nandi is 800 billion. But when Sang collects 200 billion, it's to celebrate. Is it a case where a chicken lays an egg and makes a lot of noise as opposed to a cow which gives a lot of milk, Mr. Speaker? We must relook at the on-source revenue. For Nandi, we have multinational tea estates, land rates, land rent, among others, Mr. Speaker, so that we can ensure that we support, Mr. Speaker. But I want to challenge counties, and I want to warn governors. No governor is special. Even if you criticize the president, you are not special. We want to tell the governor of Trans Nzoia that he must be held accountable. However much he tries to politicize the issue, he must face the full wrath of the law, Mr. Speaker. And I want even to throw behind, Mr. Speaker, this country people should avoid bad manners. I want to thank Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan for calling out activists who wanted to go and disrupt the peace in Tanzania. In fact, should have detained and prosecuted them because they have taught this country bad manners, Mr. Speaker. These activists, they have taught our people to insult, to undermine, to lose respect to the leadership of this country, Mr. Speaker. Tanzania is a very peaceful country. And what President Samia Suluhu Hassan said, we should respect our countries, Mr. Speaker. There is mutual respect. And I hope as the activists run around East Africa trying to meddle in the internal affairs, they must be put to stop, Mr. Speaker. Because what business would you have to go and meddle in affairs of Tanzania? What business, Mr. Speaker? These activists, and I want to ask President Samia Suluhu Hassan, Mr. Speaker, of Tanzania, to be very careful, because these activists are funded by enemies of Africa who want to destabilize the unity, the peace and tranquility of most African nations, Mr. Speaker. You saw even in the last Gen Z protest, Mr. Speaker, there were allegations that international donors were financing instability, Mr. Speaker, in this country using what we call international donors, Mr. Speaker. So I want to ask the President Samia Suluhu Hassan that in the spirit of East Africa, he should assist us to discipline some of these ill-behaved activists that have continued to destabilize Kenya, Mr. Speaker. The island of peace of Tanzania must be protected, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chelagei.
And our finya kabisa.
Senator Chelagei, can you relate what you are now discussing with the Division of Revenue Bill? Can you relate the two? Because you
okay, I'm trying to relate.
Digressing.
What I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, we need stability in Tanzania and in Kenya. Because there is balance of trade. We export and import. We get taxes. Then we build on the division of revenue, Mr. Speaker. And that is why I'm saying we should not disturb the peace and unity of Tanzania, Mr. Speaker. And ask Samia Suluhu Hassan afinya wa kabisa.
There's a minute.
Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious flaw in this House, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, this is on 105 in the statement of facts. Mr. Speaker, is it in order for the Senator of Nandi, who is a lawyer, to actually misinform the House and misinform the public on what informs the action of deportation of Kenyans from Tanzania, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, if you look at Article 104 of the EAC Common Market Protocol of 2015, it expressly says and guarantees the freedom of movement of service, labor, and goods within the East African region. If you look at the treaty, Mr. Speaker, that was established in 1999, Mr. Speaker, it allows the tenets of democracy to actually permeate in the region entirely, Mr. Speaker. How can Senator Chelagei allow the existence of those treaties, Mr. Speaker? This is something that must be condemned and is not right and could actually lead to reciprocation by Kenyans for other members, Mr. Speaker. So is it factual that that's the tenets of our democracy, Mr. Speaker, that dictatorship in Tanzania is exclusive to our dictatorship in the country?
Senator Chelagei has heard you. Let him respond.
The Senator Eddie should withdraw and apologize. There is no dictatorship in Tanzania because they do elections regularly. Correct. So it is very wrong. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to answer point of order. And after
1 minute?
Yes. So he must withdraw and apologize because Samia Suluhu Hassan, president, she has been elected to be in that office alongside the late Magufuli. Number two, under the EAC treaty, it talks about goods and services. Martha Karua and other busybody activists are not defined as goods and services. Unless I got it, the treaty of 1999.
Goods, services, and labor.
And which labor was a busybodies activist? The Martha Karua and Boniface were taking to Tanzania, Mr. Speaker. And NGO money and cloud chasing in TikTok and Facebook, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I submit and I pray that we go to mediation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I shall not be intimidated. These are people who are financed
Senator
by NGOs,
Boni.
Mr. Speaker. I will not be moved. If they have eaten NGOs money from Soros,
Senator
Mr. Speaker,
Ndokesh.
he should ensure.
Senator
He should
Chelagei,
withdraw.
you have finished. Assume your seat. Senator Mboni.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, I think, however emotional we can become during debate, but we must uphold parliamentary language. Mr. Speaker, Mother Karua is an honorable member who has served this republic, not only in this House, but also in cabinet. And Mr. Speaker, Mother Karua was one of the engines behind the success of the promotion of the fast tracking of the East African community. Mr. Speaker, for the Senator of Nandi to call Mother Karua and Professor Willie Mutunga as busybodies should not reflect anywhere in the records of this House. You'll have
So
time.
what is out of order, Senator Boni Karua?
In fact, I'm on point of order.
Because you are now also trying to do
Allow.
a debate. So what is your point of order? Be specific.
Yes, the point of order is the Honorable Senator, in order to use unparliamentary language, and have specified calling distinguished Kenyans busybodies. Is he in order? Mr. Speaker, I demand that he withdraws and apologizes abundantly to William Tunga, Professor, and Mother Karua. I would forgive him if he's talking about people like Boniface Mwangi. That's okay. But not these two characters, these distinguished Kenyans.
Yes, Senator Chalagay.
Mr. Speaker, I just say busybodies. People are busy. In fact, I am better than President Samia Suluhu Hassan, who say viumbe. In fact, I am better. I'm saying they are busybodies. What is their job description as at now? They are former, so, and we know what they are trying to achieve. These are activists who want
Actually,
to
Senator Mboni Kalwale, your point of order is on standing on the 122. Yes. 122, 1B. When a senator declines to retract use of unparliamentary language or declines to offer apologies, despite having been ordered to do so by the Speaker. So it becomes gross disorderly conduct. That is where now you are going to, and you know the consequences. We must respect the standing orders like the Bible.
Okay.
So that we can
Mr. Speaker, with tremendous respect, because you are the chair of Njuri Njeke, I withdraw and substitute. It's a respected house of decision among the Ameru community.
It's a
Sorry,
yes. Council of Elders.
Council of Elders, it is recognized under the Constitution.
One of them actually revamped.
And I was there. In fact, when I was there with you, the Njuri Njeke went into a trance as you approached to address them. So I have every right to ensure that. Mr. Speaker, I withdraw the word busybody and good for nothing individuals, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
The Senator Olekina Rendama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the report by the Committee of Finance and Budget in as far as their contribution to the Division of Revenue Bill. Mr. Speaker, as I seek your indulgence with my vocals, I want to remind this House that we've been here before. We've been here where we are supporting the report of our Committee on Finance and Budget and rejecting the proposed DORA from the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, if you're very keen to listen to the Finance and Budget Committee, the Finance and Budget Committee are telling us that the National Assembly is completely violating the Constitution. It is violating Article 202 that demands for revenue raised to be shared equitably. It is also violating the Constitution in the sense that they have received the audited financial statement from the Auditor General for the year 2024-2025, but they have refused to consider, meaning any funds which are being shared can never be shared equitably between the national government and the county government. Mr. Speaker, if we are relying on audited financial statement for the year 2020-2021, the only amount of money that can be proposed by the National Assembly to be shared among counties will only be about 14%. What does that tell us, Mr. Speaker? It tells us that all these new taxations, policies, which are being introduced by the government, are only going to hurt Kenyans more and create huge pending bills, where all these governors will be appearing before our committee of budgets, they'll be appearing before our oversight committees to answer questions as why they are not remitting their statutory deductions. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the undiscretionary expenditures alone amounts to a total of about 31 billion. The amount of money that we had proposed, and we went through mediation back and forth for the last DORA, was only going to be about 405 billion. But we were pushed down, even after those mediation, we were pushed down to a figure of about 387. Now, let's just be realistic. We have had an agreement between our party ODM and KK that we are going to endeavor to ensure that we send at least 450 billion to the counties. Why did we have this agreement? Because we are aware, we are alive to the fact that there are these undiscretionary expenditures that must be taken care of. Because if you are deducting money from an employee, and you yourself as an employer are not able to remit the 30 billion that you have deducted because you do not have enough money to pay your pending bills or to introduce any other development, then what are you going to be doing? Mr. Speaker, sir, we are continuing to dig a deeper hole when it comes to an issue of our fiduciary responsibility. It is about time, Mr. Speaker, that we ask ourselves whether these debates and whether the position we take as a Senate is a position that we all understand, that we are fighting for our counties to be able to get money so that there are no pending bills, so that also they can be able to complete the cycle whereby you deduct statutory deductions, you remit them to allow the government to continue raising funds. Mr. Speaker, one of the biggest challenges that I see is that sometimes there is a huge disconnect. And I strongly believe that there is a time that we should, this House, the Committee of Budget of the National Assembly and the Committee of Budget of the Senate should actually sit together and try to make sense of the DORA. Before it comes here, we waste time, we debate, we try to drill some sense into how money should be divided using the Constitution. But we seem to be getting nowhere. We are trying to drill wisdom to the Committee of Budget of the National Assembly. That there's no way that you're going to come here and say that you are proposing to give counties 405 billion, yet alone. If you are to take these undiscretionary expenditures, like the housing levy, like the SHIF, like the NSSF, you know, like also other expenditures, you know, there's no way, this 31 billion, there's no way you can be able to support these counties. Even if you take the 387 plus the 31 billion, that gives you 418 billion. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to be candid enough that if we are supporting devolution, we do it with facts. We put facts on the table and we try to educate these people on the need to ensure that we maintain a fiduciary responsibility. Mr. Speaker, the reason why a lot of people blame the control of budget is because they don't read the Constitution. They don't read the laws. You know, we were here the other day arguing about money being sent to Nyamira County. And some of us were busy blaming the control of budget for releasing money to 2 different assemblies. Yet we have a law that all of us must read and understand. If you read Section 103 and Section 104 of the PFM Act, it is quite clear. It says 103 says establishment of the county treasury. 104 says that the head of the county treasury shall be the CC in charge of finance. And only the CC in charge of finance can be able to send requisitions to the control of budget. So we need to be clear here, because sometimes we talk, yet we don't have facts. today I want to demystify this issue of the division of revenue bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, this constitution, which all of us read on a daily basis, it's quite clear. If you go to Article 201, Article 202, in fact, Article 201 talks about a fiduciary responsibility. If you look at 201, Mr. Speaker, it says the following principles shall guide the aspects of public finance in the Republic. And I refer clearly to the public finance system shall promote an equitable society, and in particular, the burden of taxation shall be shared fairly. Revenue raised nationally shall be shared equitably among national and county government. And finally, expenditures shall promote the equitable development of the county, including by making special provision for the marginalized groups and other areas. Now, we talk about the Equalization Fund, Mr. Speaker. Equalization Fund already, and there's a mistake in this report, Mr. Speaker, and I hope that when a report is tabled, we go through it and we look at it. We do not own, Equalization Fund is not owed 2.7 trillion. It is only owed 27 billion. So that should be corrected in this report. That is the first thing. Now, the Committee of Finance is proposing that the money which should be set aside for the Equalization Fund should be 9 billion shillings. Already, there's a debt of 26 billion. How are we going to resolve this debt? We are going to compound debt over debt. We need to be realistic. If we are not able to raise that money, in fact, this is where I differ with the Committee on Finance. Because if we already owed 26 billion, you are asking, what has been proposed is 7 billion. You ask and saying, add an additional 2 billion. So 27 plus 7 is 34. If you add another 2, is 36 billion. Yet, there is a sunset clause on this Equalization Fund. The Constitution is actually quite clear in terms of the Equalization Fund. I think it's Article 2, is it 204? 204, it talks about the Equalization Fund, and it sets a sunset clause. For 20 years. And that 20 years is lapsing very soon. So the question that I haven't had the Finance Committee responding to, or any of my colleagues, and I'll seek some wise counsel from my colleague, Senator Eddie, is that what happens if we don't amend the Constitution to be able to extend the time of the Equalization Fund, and the 20 years is coming to an end? What happened? Yet, the money has still not been paid. Is this money going to be in a fund which exists? Or is it going to be in a fund, or is it going to be in a fund that exists? So these are questions that we must ask ourselves diligently. Ask ourselves and see where is the problem and how are we going to resolve this problem. Then it comes to the issue of accountability, Mr. Speaker. We are all complaining that projects are stalling. You know, there are so many projects which the national government has initiated. And when it comes to the issue of Narok County, Mr. Speaker, I want to be very candid and very clear on this. There's an airport which is a responsibility between both the national government and the county government. And I applaud my county government of Narok and the Ministry of Transport because, of course, they have looked at issues to do with Article 187 of the Constitution in terms of a function which is for national government being undertaken by another level of government. And coming and saying, we need this service. If the national government cannot afford it, we, the people of Narok, who I consider ourselves very rich, can be able to afford to build the terminal. So these projects must be completed. You know, when you initiate the project, let's complete them. This is why I said the other day, the contractor, and I want to call upon the Ministry of Transport and KAA, please move to site, because you're not on the site. I was there 2 days ago. I'll be there again on Friday. I'll be a thorn in your flesh to make sure that these projects are completed. That is the only way we are going to be able to make sense. Mr. Speaker, sir, a couple of days ago, I listened to my colleague, Senator Kajwang, and he was raising a very valid point. And Mr. Senator Kajwang really asked a very simple question. He said, why is it that when governors are exiting, they start launching huge projects? They budget huge projects. And this is when the governor is exiting from serving a county for 10 years. When he's leaving, he now launches a big project which becomes a burden to the other incoming governor. In Narok, we had a similar problem with the hospital and the the medical technical training college, which was officially opened by the president the other day. Save from that technical college, the hospital had to be taken over by the national government because it was a project that could not be managed by the county government of Narok. We had a similar case in Kakamega County, where the level 5 hospital, which was being built by the then governor Paranya, became, a white elephant project that could not be completed. So when it comes to the issue of accountability, when it comes to the issue of financial management, all of us, Mr. Speaker, must be alive to the fact that there are limitations. There are things that we can be able to do, and there are things that we cannot be able to do. If we are not alive to the fact that there are limitations, we will be unfair to the current and the future generations. People will commit suicide because their pending bills have not been paid, and yet there's nothing we are doing. We passed a motion here, but being implemented, it becomes a challenge. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, when we are talking about amending the Constitution, there are things that we've seen that do not work in this Constitution when it comes to financial management. There are a lot of companies that collect revenue on behalf of county governments. And since they are required by Section 109 of the PFM Act and our Constitution to be able to remit 100% of the money that they collect to the county revenue fund, for them to be able to bill for their services, whenever they bill for their services, they are not paid. So it creates a problem. So you want this person to raise money for you. But then when he has raised that money for you, you don't want to pay him. Number two, the law says the shareable revenue, the money shall be considered, the Auditor General, the National Assembly shall consider the most current audited financial statements. But guess what? Because we are uncouth, because we are insincere, because we do not subscribe to the principle of, financial responsibility, we must come of age. We must come of age so that we can be measured among other developing nations. Kenya is slowly developing to becoming a developing nation. The freedoms we have here, the ability for us to raise money. But we must live to that standard. So a time will come when it will make sense to amend the Constitution to ensure that when these companies that are collecting revenue on behalf of county governments do collect the revenue, let them deduct their share, which is agreed upon, and they remit the money. You will notice, Mr. Speaker, that most money will reach to the counties. But currently, when you know that you have to send 100% of the money because the PFM Act Section 109 demands that, and I believe it's Article 217 of the Constitution, when you know, and I want to be correct on that, so that I don't leave anything. Yeah, I think it's 217. I'm correct that. No, 207. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. When you know that when you send the money that you've collected, you now have to go and beg the county governor for you to be paid your services. it becomes, it demoralizes you in the point where you don't even disclose how much money you've been able to collect. In fact, it's Article 207 of the Constitution, which mirrors Section 109 of the Public Finance Management Act. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to reiterate the fact that as a House, all of us, number one, must read this report. Number two, we must always have a sense of occasion. All of us must debate on facts to be able to guide this nation. We must be able to come out and say that whatever we're debating is what our good committee has undertaken. Not always deviating. There's always an urge to deviate and talk about current affairs, politics, talk about regional politics, but it doesn't make sense. What will make sense, Mr. Speaker, is if all of us understand the report being submitted by the committee. The distinguished senators sat, burned the midnight oil to be able to demystify the proposals from the National Assembly. It will only be better for us if we can read them. And after reading them and having a conversation with the members of that committee, I believe, and I've come to a firm belief, that the only way the devolution will work is, one, if we send the 450 billion that we agreed between ODM and KK, or in the worst case scenario, we send money that can be able to take care of the undiscretional expenditures. Number three, we also must make sure that we resolve this quagmire, this confusion. We stop dilly-dallying on the matter of equalization fund. The 26 billion, if we add an additional 7 billion, I don't even support my good friend Senator Eddy by saying he wants 9 billion. If we cannot raise 26 billion, if we are given the 7 billion, it's good enough. But that 7 billion should go and support and raise these communities. Raise these communities. When you continue accumulating debt over debt, it doesn't help. So finally, Mr. Speaker.
Your neighbor, Senator Eddy Oketch, wants to inform you.
I'll be more than happy to be informed.
Senator Oketch.
Mr. Speaker, there is an exchange there. So, Madam Speaker, the Senator of Narok has questioned whether I want this 9 billion to be given to counties instead of the entire amount. What I wanted to inform the Senator is that the structure, and we have been fighting this for over time now, Madam Speaker, the structure of the Equalization Fund has been that every single year, this money is allocated. The money is allocated, but it never gets to leave the treasury because of a number of reasons, just in the implementation metrics of the Equalization Fund. So the 26 billion that is already owed, that is quoting, is something that had been allocated and actually been given to the treasury. It has just never been released accordingly. But in this budgeting, we are saying that this budgeting, the proportionate amount that must go to the Equalization Fund for this particular finance year is the 9 billion. So the 9 billion is not going to pay debt. The 9 billion is what is rightfully meant for the counties in this financial year. But the debt that is in the treasury is that the money that is there has been put aside on a special, remember, Equalization Fund is a special purpose fund, and it has just not been released by the treasury, and that is what he himself, as my whip, and myself must fight the treasury to release those funds to go and do the work they're supposed to do, because they're never releasing them, but they keep on allocating them. So this is just a commensurate amount to this, tied to this particular financial year, the 9 billion that we are requesting of. It's not necessarily the one to pay the debt. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Eddy. You can proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me appreciate my good friend and neighbor, the distinguished senator from Migori, for informing me. I'm well informed, and that notwithstanding, my argument is very simple. that this amount that we are allocating, yet we cannot be able to spend it before the financial year is over. Madam Speaker, I think I need more time because my clock was running when I was being
Please add
informed.
him a minute. It's the one that was donated to Senator.
So I'll have like 6 minutes? 1 minute. 1 minute. Let me end by saying the following. That notwithstanding, Madam Speaker, it is imperative that we adhere to Article 201 of the Constitution of Kenya. Openness is very key. Public participation is very key. Let Treasury come in and tell this House, because if you read the Constitution, it mandates the Cabinet Secretary in charge of any department to appraise the National Assembly and the Senate on the workings of their ministry. So it will be good for the Committee of Finance and Budget to now call the Cabinet Secretary here to say, why are we allocating money and you are not spending this money? And that is why I'm arguing that the reason why they are not spending that money is not because that money is there. It is because that money is not there. Let us be realistic. So if we are given 7 billion, let us be happy with it and see whether now we can be able to call for it. And finally, Madam Speaker, I want to reiterate what I said earlier on. I would really want to plead to my colleagues. Please read this report and let us debate and always have a sense of occasion on what we are debating to help Kenya. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Ledama. I have a communication from the chair on visiting teachers and students from Tenwek High School in Bomet County. Honorable Senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon of visiting teachers and students from Tenwek High School in Bomet County. The delegation comprises 2 teachers and 49 students who are in the Senate for a one-day academic exposition. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. I thank you. I want to request Senator Joyce from Bomet County also to welcome the group, and also to be supported 1 minute by Honorable Senator from Bungoma County, Senator Wafula.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to welcome the teachers and students from Tenwek High School. This is one of the best schools in the country, not in the county. This is one of the schools that has produced a number of leaders in this country. One, Honorable Nanok, Honorable the late Kipkalia Kones, Honorable Isaac Ruto, and a number of them, including my own husband, Honorable Speaker. So I just want to say that I want to welcome them, and I hope they are going to learn a lot. Though they have a very limited time, I want to say that with the few minutes that they are going to stay here, they will be able to see this house, and I also pray for them that one day they will also come to this house. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Joyce.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuwakaribisha wanafunzi wa shule ya upili ya Tenwek na walimu wenzangu ambao wameambatana na wanafunzi hawa ambao wanaonyesha ari na azma ya kupita mtihani na kufuata yale nyoyo zao zinataka. Mheshimiwa Spika, wanafunzi hawa wanatoka Bonde la Ufa, Mheshimiwa Spika, na mwanariadha shupavu mwanariadha Kipchoge alisema katika dunia hii hakuna kisichowezekana. Binadamu anaweza fanya chochote kwa utimilifu wa wakati wake. Na mimi nawapa mkono wa heri njema kwamba walipo hapa wanapotutazama, sisi vile vile tumetembea safari ndefu ya masomo. Nimekuwa mwalimu wa shule ya upili, sasa mimi ni senator. Kile ni kuambia tu, fanya kile walimu wanasema, fanya kile wazazi wanasema, jifunze. Waswahili husema asiyefunzwa na mamaye ufunzwa na ulimwengu. Sasa msijitose katika maisha ya ulimbwende na raha ili hali uzee uko njiani waja. Jienjoy. Furahieni kuwa hapa Senate. Tengeneza urafiki na marafiki kutoka pembe mbalimbali za nchi ya Kenya, na utakapofika umri utajua kwamba heri kuziba ufa kuliko kujenga ukuta. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na watakia kila laheri katika safari zenu za hapa na pale kujua jinsi jumba la Senate linapofanya kazi. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Asante Senator Wafula. Senator Kisang William.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also rise to make comments on this particular bill. Madam Speaker, I know there are several proposals. There was a proposal by CRA of 17 billion, then the National Treasury 4 or 5 billion, and the Kenya Kwanza leadership and the ODM leaderships agreed on 450 billion. So I don't know where Treasury came up with the 4 or 5, because if you remember, Madam Speaker, in the current financial year, we had agreed on 4 or 5, and they reduced it to 380 billion, and then eventually, during the mediation, we went back to 387.5. And this included 425 million for libraries that were, their services were devolved to Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, as the senator for Elgeyo-Marakwet County is just getting, they've been getting 4.8 billion. And for the last 10 years, I've said many times in this house, Madam Speaker, that there are some counties, actually about 10 counties or so, Madam Speaker, that are getting less than 6 billion. These counties, the business they've been doing basically has been putting up ECD infrastructure, paying salaries for employees, and maintenance and evaluation. There is nothing meaningful or a flagship projects that they've undertaken, Madam Speaker. And if we go this way, I've said that in the next few years, some counties like Elgeyo-Marakwet County, Lamu, Tharaka Nithi, Isiolo, basically devolution will have only benefited in terms of payment of salaries, but no meaningful development, Madam Speaker. So that's why I'm saying, as a Senate, I don't think we are going to support this bill. We will ensure we don't pass it so that we go into mediation. Let's get the 450 billion, Madam Speaker, so that our counties can do some meaningful development to our people. The reason why for devolution was to ensure there is equitable development across the country. That was the main reason why the 2010 Constitution was passed, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I say that, Madam Speaker, if you go through the bill, CRA, they gave that proposal for 417, Treasury 405, and what the National Treasury is basing their 4 or 5 billion, they are basing it on the last audited accounts and approved by National Assembly, basically 2020, 2021. So I wonder why National Assembly is not helping the counties by ensuring they look at the audited accounts up to date. We should be basing the share of revenue on 2022-23 at worst. Otherwise, we should be basing it on 2023-2024, Madam Speaker. The current CS for National Treasury was the chair for PAC in National Assembly. So we want to tell him, Madam Speaker, that we will not accept anything short of 450 so that our counties can progress, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we also want to urge our colleagues in National Assembly that let us fast track looking at the reports, looking at the audited reports for national government, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think I agree with the member who has said we have had this constitution for the last 10 years, 15 years, Madam Speaker. The current constitution was passed August 2010. This year, August, it will be 15 years. Maybe it is high time, Madam Speaker, that we relook, we audit the constitution. Madam Speaker, this House, the Senate, actually should be the one who should be approving the audited accounts because we have interest with the counties will fast track. But you know, National Assembly are not interested to disperse resources, proper resources to go to the counties. So they can delay, they can track their feet to pass and look at the audited accounts, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I know we have discussed issues on equalization fund. It's been there for these 12 years or so, Madam Speaker. Every year, Treasury allocates resources. By end of the financial year, there is nothing that has been dispersed to the counties. Because there is a fight between some ministries of national government and also counties on who is supposed to do the actual implementation. I know we discussed several issues in the last parliament in National Assembly. Minister of Water wanted to implement some projects. Minister of Roads wanted to implement some, and eventually nothing happened. In fact, I believe National Assembly have also extended, because I think the 20 years are lapsing soon. I think they wanted to extend by another 10 years or so, Madam Speaker. So we need to put our foot down. You cannot say we have, I heard Senator Eddie saying we already have 26 billion in National Treasury. If there is 26 billion plus 9, that is 35. Why are we not dispersing? It means basically there is, money in the budget is not money until exchequer is released. Yeah, so we should be aware that when we are told we have 26 billion, where is it? Why can't we transfer then in an escrow account? Yeah, so we need to be alive to that, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, we also need to call on the governors. There is a conversation to have county integrated revenue management system by Treasury. And there is a conversation among the Council of Governors to resist. Why are they resisting a system that will help them to collect revenue? Because we are discussing in Civic District, Madam Speaker, that Nairobi County, when they implemented a new management revenue system, Madam Speaker, they were able to raise revenue from 10 billion to 12 billion in a financial year. So if they can get a system that is supported by National Treasury, Madam Speaker.
What's your point of order, Senator Lekina?
Madam Speaker, I really did not want to raise this point of order and actually raise it on my good friend, who I have a lot of respect for. But our constitution is very clear. Our county governments are semi-autonomous.
What is your point of order based on Senator Ledama?
Is under Standing Order 105 on Statement of Facts. Is a senator in order to purport that the national government, Treasury, can be able to control the management of the finance in the county government? Yet the county government is clear. The money that is deposited in the county revenue fund is protected under Article 207 of the Constitution. And when you read, I believe it's Article 209, or is it 219, Kajwang, that says that a share of revenue raised by the national government of a county government shall be released without undue delays or any deductible. So is a good senator in order to propose that county governors should agree to Treasury controlling their revenue-making systems?
Madam Speaker, the good governor and our minority whip has misunderstood me, Madam Speaker. I said what the National Treasury is trying to do, which is a good thing, is to look for a good county revenue integrated management system, and this is basically giving them a grant, a donation, so they don't have to use their own revenue to buy a system. Just the way, Madam Speaker, already the counties are enjoying the integrated financial management information system on the expenditure side of the revenue. What is wrong in giving them a system to collect their own revenue, and they'll be able to support the system on their own, and basically they can have part of the system domicile in their own server or in the cloud. So Yeah, so basically, national treasury will not, or national government will not control the revenue. They are only helping them to give them a system. I mean, it is the way they have even in the past, they have partnered to have the managed agreement system, which we know it was a scam. And then now they are planning to also have, to get additional things. So basically, this is not managing the system, it's helping them so that they can have a standardized ICT system. Instead of others going to Safaricom, others are going to use different people. So it will also be very easy for us to audit. You can imagine auditing or checking for the 7 county revenue systems. So, Madam Speaker, it is clear now.
Are you clear now on the issue? I'll give you 1 more minute to just clarify.
So that it doesn't spend my minutes, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I think we need to be very careful.
Your minutes will be posted.
Madam Speaker, we need to be very careful. We are here to protect county governments, but not to go to bed with the national government. So, if the good senator is saying that National Treasury is proposing but not putting conditions, it has to be clear so that whoever comes in, and what I want to remain on record, and I hope that my good friend will make sure that he clarifies his submissions, is that this is not mandatory. We don't want scandals. This is a suggestion, but it's up to the county government to decide yes or no. I hope that's what he's saying, and I would be satisfied if that's what he's saying. But if it is saying that it is so that we in the Senate can be able to audit that, then we'll have a serious problem with that, because we'll now be micromanaging counties' revenue-raising measures. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You know, Madam Speaker, this is still a proposal, and I believe the National Treasury and the County Council of Governors have a conversation, and I'm not speaking for National Treasury or the governors or the county government. I was just raising what is outside there, and also as an expert in the ICT industry. You know, occasionally I get consulted for free of charge. So that's why I also wanted to advise the House free of charge, Madam Speaker, this afternoon, that there is conversation outside there, and it's a good thing. And I believe if counties already, like now Nairobi County, have a system, they say they were able to collect, to raise revenue from 10 billion to 12 billion. If it's a good system, they proceed with their own. I don't think anybody will be forced. And if it is free, why not? You know, I'm speaking because the county where I come from, we don't have 50 or 30 or 100 million to pay for software. So we'll pick it, we'll be very glad to get that system, because my county doesn't have, say, 50 or 100 million to buy it. So those who have resources like Narok, because they get a lot of revenue from the Conservancy and the Masai Mara, they can buy their own. It's free. It's not free, please. Madam Speaker, we also need to put the governors on the check. Why are they not collecting enough revenue? Every year, all the counties, they budget a lot in terms of on-source revenue. But by the end of the financial year, they have only collected 40 or 50%. And then in the process, Madam Speaker, they accrue a lot of pending bills. We need to audit and check so that if, say, Elgeyo Marakwet County collected last year 200 million, we shouldn't accept them to propose that they are going to collect to 500 million. What miracle is there for them to double? So basically, so that they can progressively maybe add around 10 to 15 or 20%. Otherwise, at the end of the day, Madam Speaker, we are going to have a lot of pending bills. People are going to suffer. They'll be given tenders to do work at the counties, and at the end of financial year, there are no resources, Madam Speaker, to pay for works that have been done, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, there is also something that is not going right at our counties, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when the control of budget approves expenditures, Madam Speaker, some governors divert. Senator for Narok is saying all governors divert. Instead of paying those that have been approved, they pay their friends. They pay where they know they are going to get a cut, where they're going to get 10% or 20%, Madam Speaker, and then in the process, those genuinely where the controller budget has approved payment for them, don't get the money, Madam Speaker. This is also where we are saying, as Senate, we want the controller of budget to automate basically this release of payments, and then ensure the counties don't have an opportunity to replace the payee. The only thing they can do is maybe to reduce the amount, because if they have requested for, say, 20 million for a particular supplier, they can only reduce maybe to 15, 12, or whatever, what they have been given. But they should not change the supplier. This is what we are saying the controller budget should do and put it in place, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I know tomorrow we'll be meeting and also discussing the formula, Madam Speaker. So I want to urge my colleagues, for the sake of equity, for the sake of helping the younger brother, Madam Speaker, let's sit down, see how we can ensure our counties that are getting less than 6 billion can be cushioned, Madam Speaker, so that at least we can move and do work and do something meaningful for our counties, Madam Speaker, so that at least all these small counties can have good hospitals, we can have the level 5s. Currently, we have level 5s, but when you go to the hospitals, basically they are level 3. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, with all those many remarks, I don't support the bill. We sit down, let's not approve this bill so that we can go into mediation to get basically the 450 that our counties deserve. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Kisang. Senator Kajwang Moses Otieno. Or can I take Joyce first? Okay, Senator Joyce.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Allow me, Honorable Speaker, to thank the Committee on Finance for the work that they have done. And Honorable Speaker, I must also commend them for giving room to a number of stakeholders to be able to give to get the submission, which has formed part of this report. Honorable Speaker, I know Division of Revenue Bill is an issue that this House needs to look critically and also compare notes with a number of stakeholders' submission. Honorable Speaker, I also want to congratulate the honorable colleagues on the number of submissions that they have also given. And I want to say, Honorable Speaker, that I will all want to touch on the recommendation that has been spoken by 2 stakeholders, that is the submission by the County Assemblies Forum. Honorable Speaker, the County Assemblies Forum's concern is the issue of underfunded or underfunding by the national government. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that the underfunding, Honorable Speaker, has made or undermined the oversight role of the county assemblies, their legislative role, representation function, and particularly some of the committees that they are supposed to assist in terms of fiscal accountability. Madam Speaker, I know we've been fighting to make sure that the counties are able to deliver their services. And Honorable Speaker, the BFM Act mandates the counties to use their resources prudently. But Honorable Speaker, the challenge that we have within the counties is the late remittance by the national government. This late remittance, Honorable Speaker, has made the counties to increase their debt. They have made them not to be able to deliver on their mandate. They have made them not to deliver the services on time, Honorable Speaker. So I want to say that despite the fact that we are fighting for these resources to go to the counties, still it's a constitutional mandate that we give the counties 15%. But as we speak right now, even the allocation that we've given them is still far below the requisite percentage, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, if I can go to the recommendation by the Kenya Devolution Civil Society Organization, they have raised a concern where the amount that you are giving to the counties this financial year is far much below the percentage, the 15% that we are supposed to give to the counties. Meaning, Honorable Speaker, that a number of things that the county, a number of plans that the counties want to undertake will not be actualized. Remember, Honorable Speaker, we also have functions that have been given to the counties by the national government. The issues of the industrial parks, youth and women empowerment programs, and even the issues of housing. Honorable Speaker, these are some of the issues that I want to believe the counties needed to be given enough resources to be able to assist in terms of counterfunding projects that are supposed to be undertaken by the national government. So, Honorable Speaker, I just want to say that it will be prudent for this House to really work it out and maybe find a way of maybe getting the percentage that is supposed to be a bare minimum. I know we have the 15%, but because of the increasing demands of the county government, because of the functions that national government are devolving to the, or they want to co-join with the county government, I think we need to set a bare minimum whereby we will be able to allow them to be able to deliver, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I would want to agree with the recommendation that has been made by the Committee on Finance. I know their hands are tied in terms of making this decision, even after even getting the reports or the submission from the various stakeholders, they still have a challenge in terms of making sure that the percentage is arrived. And I want to say that if this House, I was once listening to Honorable Kachwang, and he made a lot of sense in some of his sentiments when he was talking about the devolution and the counties that we have. I still want to believe that as far much as we are supporting the counties, we still have to relook at it. We still have to rethink, because if you see the monies that are going for development, Madam Speaker, you can raise a lot of questions. If you can give a county to a tune of 13 million or 13 billion or 10 billion, and they can barely put in development not even a billion shillings, a lot of monies are going to recurrent. There is a lot of duplications in the counties. I can tell you for sure that we need to look at this. There is more questions than answers. A lot is needed to be done in the county governments, but because of duplications, they cannot be able to do things the right way. Meaning, we need to relook at devolution. I don't dispute or I don't challenge that we have the 47 counties, but I still want to believe that if we can look at it critically, we can come out with a better solution where we can have more resources going to the ground. Because at the end of the day, it's not the number of representatives that we want to see. It's not a number of duplications that we want to see. We want to see the tangible projects that are able to assist our people. So those are some of the concerns that I'm raising. And I also felt that the Honorable Senator, he's been here and he's been working with the county governments. And I want to say that I saw a lot of sense, and I still feel that we need to rethink. I would challenge the Committee on Devolution to still look at this critically and really tell whether this is the direction that we need to take as a country. If the percentage that we are taking to development is so minimal compared to what we've devolved, it raises a lot of concerns. So I don't want to labor much. I just want to say, Madam Speaker, I would want to support the Committee on Finance, and I would urge this House to still look at the issues of the counties and make sure that they give counties enough resources to be able to discharge their services. I beg to submit, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Joyce. Senator Kajwang Moses.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for giving me an opportunity to comment on the Division of Revenue Bill 2025, which is one of the most important functions of the Senate and a senator, because it is during this kind of debate that we determine what goes to county governments. Many people sometimes ask, what do these senators do when they're in Nairobi? This is it. We are deciding what is going to county governments. When governors are giving out bursaries, launching roads, and doing all the employment that they're doing it courtesy of the Senate, which has approved certain estimates to go to the counties. Madam Speaker, I want to strongly oppose the proposal by the National Assembly to allocate county governments 405 billion. Madam Speaker, a number of players have cited different figures. The Commission on Revenue Allocation, the constitutional body that is mandated to advise Parliament on allocations to county governments and division of revenue between the two levels of government, had proposed a 30 billion Kenya shilling increment from the last financial year. The National Assembly has proposed a 17 billion shilling increment. Madam Speaker, both positions by CRA and the National Assembly and Treasury are untenable because of discretionary expenditure and a few other factors that I'm going to highlight. Madam Speaker, the Senate has proposed 465 billion to be allocated to county governments, a position that I fully support. The Council of Governors has requested for 536 billion. That perhaps could be the ideal situation, but I will go with the Senate position of 465 billion, which, Madam Speaker, closely aligns with what the ODM party and the UDM parties signed up for in the 10-point memorandum. Madam Speaker, the two parties agreed to protect and strengthen devolution, to increase funding to county governments, and to protect devolution against clawback. And in the MOU, it was proposed that counties should get no less than 450 billion. Madam Speaker, for those of us who recognize a broad-based government, we can only recognize it if it is going to deliver 450 billion to county governments. Madam Speaker, beyond the politics, there's a bit of the science and the figures and the economics that will influence our decision as a House to decide how much goes to county governments. First of all, the Constitution requires that the basis of division of revenue between national and county governments should be the last revenue estimates as adopted by the National Assembly, as audited and approved by the National Assembly. Madam Speaker, this bill proposes that we use the base of 2020-2021. That is wrong, that is unconstitutional, and Justice Jairus Ngaah, not too long ago, in October last year, made a landmark ruling that said that where timelines have been specified in the Constitution, then they are not optional, they are not a suggestion, they are mandatory. Parliament must review, adopt, consider, debate, audited reports within 3 months of their presentation to Parliament. The National Assembly, by now, should have already adopted the revenue estimates for the financial year 2023-2024. And so it is wrong for them to propose or to purport that 2020-2021 should be the basis. On that point alone, Madam Speaker, someone is going to go to court. Is going to challenge the decision of Parliament to say that it is unconstitutional to base revenue on estimates that are 4 years old. Madam Speaker, if you are to base the revenue share on 2023-2024, then it would be possible to yield to counties the 465 billion that the Senate has proposed. Secondly, Madam Speaker, county governments face non-discretionary expenditure. A non-discretionary expenditure, we had that conversation previously, are expenditure arising from national government policy. Community health promoters, Madam Speaker, is an expenditure that has been put on the heads of county governments. The universal healthcare staff, who I believe could be the ones who are picketing outside Parliament, and they are doing it rightfully, because you know, you saw the headline saying the nurses that nobody needs. This is a sick country. You cannot have a situation where you have nurses that are not needed. We can't have a situation where we train and educate our nurses only to export them to Qatar, to export them to UAE, and yet our people are still sick. Madam Speaker, we must ensure that the UHC workers are engaged in proper and decent terms of service, so that instead of them spending time in the corridors and the streets of Nairobi picketing, they should be out there dispensing and delivering health service, care, and attention to the sick people of this nation, and making sure that the Social Health Authority and the Social Health Insurance Fund and all those programs of the national government are successful. That can only be done if county governments are financed sufficiently.